shooting for fun here. All you YouTubers out there just joining in here. What we're going to be doing today is going to be doing a little short stint on this guy here. This is our Ruger 1022 takedown, and as you can see, we've already taken it down, ejected our mag, make sure our chamber is empty here. Of course, you can't really fire nothing in there because you don't have a barrel or anything. But okay, so what we're going to do is we did one of our earlier videos of the 1022. We showed the basic takedown and cleaning of it, basically without doing any more than cleaning your slide and where your firing pin and your guide rod and all this stuff is, without really taking it apart. So today what we're going to do is we're going to show a little bit detailed takedown, and we're also going to be doing a couple of modifications here. We're going to be replacing our stock mag release with a little bit of an extended mag, give us a little more room there to eject our mag with. And we're going to be replacing our stock, this is a bolt buffer. It's when your slide comes back, and instead of hitting the metal rod there, we're going to replace them with these TPC polyurethane blocks here. These are actually made by Ruger, so we're going to do that modification as well, okay, to kind of help our recoil a little bit. It should take off some of the shock from our recoil and should quiet the cycling process down a little bit because you're not hitting metal against metal. So a couple of advantages of that, and they're relatively cheap too. These are a couple of fairly cheap modifications that you can do for this thing that will help improve it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take down our assembly here and take it out of our stock. So we're going to loosen this set screw here, or take down the screw. Alright, and that's locked into place. What we're going to do is we're going to lift up, and what you have to do is you kind of have to push this trigger into a center detent position there, and the whole assembly comes out, and now we're left with nothing but our empty stock here. So we're going to set this aside for right now. Okay, now you have your slide assembly, and we have our trigger assembly. Now the trigger assembly, if you notice here, one of the little roll pins already just came out, and the first one's a little easy. The second one is a little bit tougher. We got one of our little blocks here. We're just going to set it up on. These things come out pretty easy. I say that and it doesn't come out easy, so we'll go ahead and tap it out the rest of the way. There we go. I don't know why this one's being such a... There we go. Okay. Alright, so we got our two roll pins out. Now this whole trigger assembly just pulls out. Okay, so there's your whole trigger and hammer mechanism. And then you see we have our slide bolt and our recoil spring assembly in there. Okay, so what we're going to be dealing with is, number one, if you can, I don't know how good you can see that. If you see this metal pin right here, it just pulls out. Okay, and this is a metal rod pin. That's what we're going to be replacing with one of these little yellow guys here. And you see, basically it just replaces the point. Now when this bolt comes back, instead of metal hitting metal, it's going to hit that polyurethane. It's going to be a lot quieter. It's going to help that recoil a little bit. Okay. Those guys I got, I think they were about $2 a piece there, and I got like 3 of them. So if they wear out, they're fairly easy to replace. Depends upon how often you shoot the gun, is how often you're going to have to replace those or not. I just do some range shooting, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. Them things should probably last quite a while. Okay. So now the next thing we got is, and they make these trigger assemblies. They make several of these different trigger assemblies. You can buy, the most popular one is the BX trigger assembly. It takes it from about 5 to 6 pounds is what the normal pull is on these things, trigger pull. It takes them down to about 3 pounds. So, and they're about $66, between 60 and 75, depending upon where you get them at. And it's a pretty good little upgrade to do if you do, like I said, if you do a lot of shooting, or if you're going to get into some better competition or better range shooting. You can spend that $70 and get you a little better trigger pull there. There's our extractor. You want to make sure you get that back down where it goes before you put it back in. Now the thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking in, this is our mag release, and basically you just push up on it, and you can see the little thing there, it's just kind of popping in. That holds our magazine in there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to be taking that out and replacing it with this one, which is going to, see, it takes it from here to way back here by the trigger. Okay, so it does extend it a little bit. Okay. So it's going to give us a little more pull. Now the way this works is you've got a little pin right here, and we're just gonna see how easy that came out. Right. We'll take that little pin, and this little thing just comes right out of there. Okay, you gotta hang on to this because it is spring loaded there, so when that goes back in, you want to push that down because that piece holds that in there. It goes in, that's what holds it. So you take that out, kind of want to make sure you don't lose that little spring on there. Okay. We did have another modification that we were going to do, but it didn't come in the mail yet. And that involves taking this piece here off. This is the slide lock. When the slide goes back, you can lock it back. It is kind of a pain in the butt because it's just a little piece here that you have to do, and when you lock that slide back, the one that we're going to replace it with is a Volkolson, however you pronounce it. We're going to replace that with an aftermarket one, so that when you rack your slide back, you can lock it back, and then all you got to do is pull back and let it go. You don't have to push the little button anymore. So that's just a little creature comfort. Now you can see our upgrade here. We went from this basically little trigger release that you have to get your finger up under to push in there, to a more extended release where you got a lot more area there to grab onto. Now the one that we've got is a basic polymer one, and I think it was like around $15, something like that. They do sell the ones that are the aircraft aluminum, and I don't think they're that much more. It just depends upon what you like. I just bought this because the standard was what was in it, so I figured there wasn't no point in changing it. The aluminum might add a little more weight to it. Okay, so we're just going to slide this up in here. And we want to line that hole up there, because we're going to slide our pin back down through. And I think we're missing it on the other side here. Here we go. There we go. And now our pin's back in place, and now we have our extended slide release. It's a lot easier to get hold of instead of trying to reach up here and get your finger way up underneath there. So for about 15 bucks, we made a nice, easier modification. Now, also, when you have this apart, is you can do your cleaning. Get out here and you grease that the little pin here that moves back and forth for your mag release. You can grease your little post here. This one's for that pin if we're going to take this piece out, and it also holds our ejector. So that's what we may do is later when this comes in this weekend, we may do an addendum to add on to the end of this video to show just changing that out. Okay, and now we just put everything back together. Right? So you notice here our hammer is already cocked back, right? And for the ease of just putting it back together, we can just leave that the way it is. Make sure we got our extractor down in the little slot there. And when you clean, you can clean all that out, and you can take your ejector. We're not going to pull this down because that spring is a kind of a pain in the butt. But basically, if you slide this ejector down past the little indentation right here, if you can see it, slide that down, the bolt will pull off. You can take your charging handle out with your recoil spring here. You can clean all that. You can clean your bolt. And then it's really, quick and easy back to assemble, right? So all we're going to do is we're going to set this back in. We're going to put our line up our pins here, get our pins back in. There's one. There's the other. Okay, one of our bolts came out and fell down. Alright. So here we go. Gotta watch this last roll pin here. It seems to be pretty loose when you put it back in there. We may maybe purchase another one of them, maybe a little bigger around there that will stay in a little bit better. It doesn't matter because once it slides into the frame, it's not coming out anyway. Okay. So now what we've done is we have our little punch here, and we've got our spare buffer here if we need to put that back in, put our original back in. Then we have our original mag release, so we can hang on to that. So those are pretty simple little mods there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to be careful there, make sure that one that one roll pin wants to keep sliding out there for some reason. Alright. Okay. So we're going to try to hang on to that, and now we have to put our safety here in a kind of a mid-temp position. There we go. We're slid back in. And our set screw here. We'll tighten back up. Now you want to tighten these up pretty good, but you don't want to like over torque them. There's no need to put 1,000 foot-pounds of pressure. Just tighten it down really good and snug. And now we've got our thing here. We're going to check our function here. Alright. We're going to actually, let me go ahead and fire this so it's not. Oh, sorry, got our safety on. Alright. It's not really good to dry fire them, but we don't do it very often, so I do not want the hammer to be armed while we're doing this because I do have a full mag here. We just want to check to make sure that there we go. Snaps in, goes out. So it's a lot easier to do while you're shooting. Just take that trigger, bam, put your next mag in. A lot quicker, a lot easier there with that extended mag release. So that was money well spent for that. Alrighty guys, there's a couple other mags there. You can buy the extended, because this one I put my scope on. The bolts here are kind of, you had to watch the little bolts got a little rough edges on them, so I had to grind them down a little bit, smooth them out. And you got to watch where your charging handle is there. You hit them bolts, it knocks the skin off your knuckles there. So they do make an aftermarket. Several different places make aftermarket charging handles where they're extended, they're a little longer, so you can get away from your scope there. They do make one. It's a slide unit that comes on and it mounts to your slide, and it just sits, a little post just sits there, and you have your slide handle on this side. So when you pull it back, it pulls this back on this side. To me, for the cost of those, it was just easier. I'm thinking later on I probably may get an extended mag or an extended charging handle, but just because you do have your bolts right there. Like I said, I don't shoot this one often enough. It's not really that big of a deal for me. You only cock it once and then you shoot however many times you shoot, so it's not that big of a deal. But it is something you can consider, upgrading if you want to. It's another fairly, I think these aftermarket ones run about $24, something like that. So it's not really an expensive upgrade, but it does help your function there a little bit if you want. Alright, so there's our 1022 takedown. We put in our mods there. We're going to head to the range here this weekend and see how she does. Alrighty guys, I'm shooting for fun, and thanks for watching.